Melinda endured severe neglect and abuse as a child. This is how she got free from her literal demons in Jesus' name. This is Melinda. She has become a good friend of mine, and she is a bold prayer warrior for Jesus, and she's a beautiful singer. Thank you for being on the channel, Melinda.
Thank you for having me.
So why did you agree to come and talk to me about deliverance and exorcism?
If that can help others, in any way that's struggling or going through the same things that I've personally went through, then it's worth it.
So you agreed and wanted to have your exorcism videotaped. Why was that, Melinda?
Well, I feel like, people can learn from, my experience and be taught how to do deliverance on others, that it's worth it.
Yes. So when your mom adopted you, later on in life, she told you that when she brought you into her home, that you were eating out of trash cans because you had been so abused and neglected. And what did that do to your life and relationships, starting life off so painfully?
Well, I never felt like I belonged. I never had a sense of belonging anywhere. I never felt like I was ever good enough, that, nobody would love me. I've struggled in relationship for many, many years because of that and because of, the stuff that I went through in my past.
So knowing your story and then talking to you today and talking to you recently, I would have no idea, and I'm a counselor, and I would have no idea the awful childhood that you had from a very young age. So you had demons cast out of you.
Yes,
and how,
yes, I did. Several.
Yeah. How influential was that in getting you from being really broken, just feeling totally disconnected and not loved and not valuable, to the point where you are today?
Oh my gosh, it's been a huge miraculous change in my life, what God has done for me just since I've, went through the deliverances, how he's changed me, even thought processes. Not to say that I don't still struggle, with those thought processes and maybe some of those same feelings sometimes, the enemy does come and I do still struggle, at times, but nothing to this severity, to the capacity that I was, they're easier to fight now.
Okay.
The thoughts are easier to fight now. Like before, it's like I just couldn't, it was just like a ticking time bomb going off in my head. I couldn't fight fight it, but I'm able to fight easier.
What other things really were a burden, and what else tormented you before you went through deliverance and exorcism?
I dealt with a lot of fear, a lot of insecurity, a lot of anxiety. I was actually on anxiety meds for about 2.5 years, give or take. And I actually got freedom from that. I'm no longer on the anxiety medicine. I can walk in the church building now without feeling like, I just want to get out of here.
Why do you believe that demons, couldn't it have just been your imagination, or couldn't it have been mental illness, or couldn't it have been something else? How do you know it was demons?
I think one thing is I couldn't control it. It was just like something came over me and I could not control it.
Did it feel like it wasn't you somehow?
Yeah. I knew it wasn't me.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I knew it wasn't me.
Because it was so contrary to your will and your intentions and your desires, and
yes.
Or how?
Yeah.
Okay. And then once these demons left, and you've had several different sessions because you had a lot of demons in your family.
I had a lot of demons.
Yeah. Once they left, then your will and your intentions and your desires and things didn't change, but it was easier somehow, or what?
It has gotten so much easier. I remember there was times where I would try to even read in the Bible. I struggled through, like I would feel such like a heaviness, just like a heaviness, and there would be times where I would be walking and I would feel like literal weights would be on my legs, and times when at night when I was laying in the bed, that my bed would shake And
Your physical bed would move?
my bed, yes,
Yeah.
my bed would shake. There would be times I'd be going through the day and my body would shake, you know. Like I knew it wasn't me.
So how would someone that's watching this and has a lot of problems in their life and relationships, how would they know that they may have a demon or demons?
You can deal with like a lot of anger, a lot of fear, you know, a lot of anxiety, just different things like that. You can deal with just like sexual outbursts, you know, where you just want to go have sex and stuff, you know, and you really don't want to do it, you know, but you continue to do that, you know. When you cannot stop yourself from doing something, then it's more than likely a demon. When your heart, you know, is towards God and you can't stop. That's what I would say, yeah. When you can't stop doing.
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful for people to hear.
Yeah.
So you've done a little bit of counseling and some with me a little while ago.
Yeah.
But other than that, have you been through extensive counseling?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
So I'm not saying counseling is not important, but for you, relationships with people and getting rid of these things that were in you that were not you, these demons, literal demons, was really helpful for you, you're saying?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
I believe, you know, the deliverance, you know, going through the deliverances. And then I also had a inner healing, you know, because that's along the inner healing. And also the counseling, you know, the counseling sessions that we've had, you know, is a big, huge part, you know, of staying free.
The process of healing.
Yeah,
and
the process. Yeah.
Yeah, so no one's saying that deliverance is going to fix all the problems, but you're saying it was very valuable and powerful, or
Yes.
how would you describe deliverance and its influence on your whole life?
Well, it's changed my life. I mean, I feel like I'm a different person now. Like I said, you know, the enemy does come and attack still, and you know, but it's nothing. I mean, before it was even hard to hold a job down because I had dealt with so much fear and anxiety of people, and like walking into a building and just having to face those people was just very hard for me. And it's just like one big family here, you know. Nobody judges anybody.
When I first met you, you had gone through a lot of healing already, but you were still so quiet and timid, and now you're finding your voice, and it's just beautiful to see that. So the exorcism itself, the spiritual deliverance session or sessions, what was that like for you? And what happened in them?
Oh, well, it was, I don't remember a lot. But,
why is that? Why people may want to know why you don't remember a lot.
I'm guessing because God didn't want me to remember, you know, a lot of it. It might be too much for me to take or, you know, remember.
So you have watched the video because you wanted the video to be used to help others learn and educate people and to train people. Yes. So what did you think when you watched the video of yourself getting free? Because even though you're a quiet, reserved person, the deliverance was really wild. It was that was really not wild. You. That was these demons, and it was so obvious to me that you were getting free from these things. And so what was it like to see yourself, because you weren't totally conscious? Some people are co-conscious, some people know exactly what's going on when all that happens, but you're saying that you were just in the background, resting with Jesus, or what were you doing? Did it feel like you were... Yeah, it was hard for me at first. You know, I had to learn how to just, you know, they would say, sit back and be with Jesus. You know, I had to learn how to do that because of the many demons that, you know, I had. I mean, you know, as well as I did. I was delivered from a lot. Why do you think that you had so many demons? You seem like such a sweet woman. And why did the enemy have so many assignments against your life and relationships?
I think it's because of the huge call that God has placed upon my life, you know, and the enemy came in, and I didn't know this at the time, but when I went through the inner healing, the enemy had come in and put rejection in the womb when I was in the womb in my mother. And then the things too that was done to me, you know, like my mom trying to drown me in the bathtub and stuff like that, you know. I had went through some things in my childhood and that, you know, was hard. And then I had several, you know, relationships, sexual relationships, lots of drugs. You know, there was just lots of my life for many, many years, for about 13, I think 13 years of my life was just chaos.
Yeah. So sometimes demons come into people's lives by them getting hurt and rejected and abused as children, and that's not fair, but the enemy does not work fair, does he?
No.
And then a lot of times we find, and in your situation too, it wasn't so much that you had these choices that you made that were sinful, because you asked God, you were forgiven for all that. You were saved when you went through these deliverance and exorcisms. But we found that there were generational curses, that people opened the door spiritually to your bloodline. Do you want to talk about that at all? That all these demons, all this crap in your life was not just from you, it was from other things from the past.
Yeah, things that people had done in my family, like I think one was 40 generations back.
I don't remember, but yeah, there was some long-term curses, and these demons came up so strong, in my opinion, because they'd been there so long, and they did not want to leave you and your generations after you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So after these deliverances, what would you say to people about the freedom that you can get coming through the other side, going through an exorcism, having spiritual healing? What is life like now? I know that it's not perfect every day, but what was different immediately after some of these deliverances?
Well, I felt lighter. I felt freer. I had a sense of hope, you know, that I hadn't had in I guess my whole life, you know.
Yeah.
I had this sense of, you know, of hope, and like everything was going to be okay, you know, and being able to feel God's love, and, you know that he loves me. And so, yeah, I mean, I definitely would recommend going through deliverance, you know, for anyone that is struggling with some of the same things that I struggle with.
Now, you've been around here for a while, and you've talked to a lot of different people at the church. And is deliverance just for people who have been severely abused and neglected as children, like you were, and had a really painful life? Or is it just for
deliverance is for all types of people.
So someone like myself that grew up in a loving home and had a pretty easy life compared to you, why would I consider going through deliverance, or someone like me?
Because, you know, we were talking about the generation thing. There could be things, you know, that your mom or your dad did, or grandma, grandpa, whoever, you know, that could be generations back in your family.
Yeah, we find some people really struggle with things that are less about what they've gotten involved in and more about what some of their ancestors, their relatives have been involved in. And even you, with such a terrible, painful childhood, and you got adopted out of that home, and still had a lot of pain after that. Even with all that, a lot of the biggest demonic attachments and assignments and functions were from generations before you, weren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rituals done, and sacrifices, I think, wasn't there? I can't remember it all, but yeah.
What else would you say to people that are considering spiritual healing and deliverance, and they haven't maybe even heard about it before, but they've heard about it now because of you and other brave people talking about their testimonies? What would you say to people?
That there is hope, and his name is Jesus, you know, and deliverance is, you know, he did it in the Bible, so why shouldn't we do it today? You know, deliverance and healing, you know, God has deliverance and healing for everyone who needs it. That's his love, you know, that's his heart. That's the heart of the Father, you know, is for his children to be set free, you know, healed, delivered, whole.
Yeah. So you and I know that so obviously because of what we've seen, what we've experienced here, and people's lives. Why do you think so many people are resistant to deliverance and exorcism so much? Even pastors I talk to.
Well, for one, a lot of them don't think that a Christian can have a demon.
Yeah.
But also, you know, I think fear, you know, the enemy brings fear in, and doubt, and
Fear of the
just all
unknown.
these things.
Lots of
And
yeah.
then a lot of people are religious too. Religion can stop them.
So what does that mean? Because some people watching may think religion is a good thing. Go to church, be religious. But what are you talking about when you say religion is a bad thing in that way?
Well, religion is like when you don't have a true relationship, with God. When you think that you do, you're going to church, you're sitting on the pew, you're getting up singing, preaching, whatever, but you don't have that relationship with Him. That's what it's about, is that love relationship.
So I can't see Him with my physical eyes or hear Him. What do you mean have a relationship with Jesus?
Well, for me, it's just about taking the time to sit down, get away from everything else, get in a room in a quiet place and just sit down and just be with Him, just love on Him. That may look like just reading the Word, that may look like praying, that may look like, sometimes, a lot of times, I'm a singer, so I love to sing. I love to, just go off and be by myself and just sing to Him.
So I grew up and a lot of my friends and family did that. They went to church, but they're talking to God, but it was a one-way relationship. So how can people get what you have? Because you hear from God, don't you? And you feel His presence.
Yes.
So
very strongly.
How can people get that? Because I grew up just talking to God, asking Him things, but not really feeling His presence, not knowing that He's with me, and certainly not hearing Him or seeing Him or walking with Him.
I think for me at first it was like a waiting. It's like you have to be still, and know, like the verse says, know that He is God. Know that He wants to talk to you, and
be still and know
listen,
that I am God. Yeah.
And listen, for Him, and when you do that, in your hearts, to hear Him, He's gonna speak. And it may be just, it sometimes for me, it's just a thought that I have. It's a thought.
When you had all these
that's how He speaks to me a lot, is just through my thoughts.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
When you had all those demons before that left, was that possible to recognize the Holy Spirit's voice and hear from God? Or was it a lot more difficult, and was it blocked?
It was
a lot of people say they're blocked.
Yeah, it was blocked in a lot of ways. After going through the deliverance, I had more clarity.
Even though you'd given your life to Jesus already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was more, things were more clear. I mean, I did hear from Him before, but it was very hard to.
Well, it's been
my mind was in constant turmoil, like all the time. And so now it's a lot more clear. I can hear Him better. Just since I've been coming to the well, I've seen like He shows me things, like angels, or, get a picture of Him. And that's something that I was never able to do before.
And what do those gifts give you? Comfort or
joy, comfort,
okay.
Peace. Just like, okay, Lord, You are with me,
You just give all the glory to Jesus, don't you?
Yes.
Because I can't cast demons out of you, or but Christ in us can help each other and love each other well and heal each other. So
yes, we are His vessels, to pour out, and He uses us. He fills us up and uses us to pour out onto others. We are His vessels, but He's all the glory goes to Him. He's just so amazing, but it's amazing how, like, vessels like you and others here at the well are used. You let Him use you.
Your story is powerful. You're a powerful woman of God, and I'm so thankful that you just fought through and didn't give up. And I know you're still getting more freedom.
Yes.
Emotionally, you're healing. Spiritually, you're still growing and healing.
Yes.
So please pray for Melinda. She had a torturous childhood, and it would be a blessing to her. To people who are watching this video, please pray for her and bless her in Jesus' name with the freedom that she's seeking and that she's seeking for others to have. She has great boldness, and she wants to be in powerful ministry, and she's getting more and more free, and that God is going to release her into ministry and explode into the world in powerful ways with his love. So thank you for praying for her, and thank you, Melinda, for your boldness and for being here today, even talking about all this.
Thank you,
Thank
Mark.
you so much.
Thank you.
If you were abused as a child, there's nothing fair about that, but the enemy doesn't play fair. Consider deliverance to get rid of demons of rejection and trauma.